Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United 4, Bournemouth 4. And I tell you what, looking at the comments, there's a lot of different opinions. The title is Amorim to blame. Some people don't want to blame Amorim. Somebody just said it was a good game and we played well. Good. I want the different opinions because I tell you what, there has to be some assessment of that. 2 points from 9. At home to Bournemouth, West Ham and Everton. The opportunity again lost in relation to the league table and how it looks now is that we are in 6th place, but we should be in 4th. We should be in 4th place. Again, we've messed up because we can't beat... I mean, they've not won a game since October. They concede more goals than anybody else in the league apart from Burnley. And Bournemouth should have won the game. I nearly said... Lucky Amorim gets a point because Lemens made two big saves in stoppage time. They could have won that game. And you know what? I'm seeing people going, it's not Amorim's fault, it's the defence. It's not Amorim's fault that people don't take their chances. Mate, we were good in the first 20 minutes. If we'd been 2 or 3-0 up, would you trust us to finish the game 3-0? We can't manage a bloody game. Those players should run out against Aston Villa with vests on. Because we're basketball players. We're literally scoring a goal, then picking it out our own net, and then we're going back and trying to do it. This is basketball. This is chaos ball. And the reality is, the best number 10 in the league is being played as a fucking midfielder. And that's the headline. The best number 10 in the league is being played in our midfield. Because Bruno proves that. Whether you like Bruno or not, the goals, the assists, he's a fucking number 10. And if you can't see what I'm seeing, that's absolutely fine. But we're conceding 4 goals at home to Bournemouth. We're needing big saves by our goalkeeper in injury time to stop us losing our home record where we've never lost a game in the Premier League when we're winning at half time. Lemens needs a bloody statue. He should be your man of the match. Those 2 saves in stoppage time have kept that record in track. We did nothing in stoppage time to win the game. Bournemouth had 2 big chances. He saved them. Now, 4 goals is good, but 2 big saves from a goalkeeper and 4 conceded isn't. And the reason this is happening, and the reason I'm saying Amorim's to blame, is not because of necessarily this game. He had a decision to make in the summer, and he bottled it. He bottled it. Bruno Fernandes could have been sold to Saudi and he could have rebuilt his midfield, and he said no, which is fine if you're going to use Bruno as a 10, but he said no to put him in his midfield. Now, how many points are we dropping this season because we don't have a midfield? And I'll have this debate with anybody. We are dropping points because our midfield is ridiculously bad. We very rarely have more than 50% possession in a game. The only reason we went from 50% to 56% in this game is because he bought Manu on. We don't control possession. We lost the flow of that game because Casemiro and Bruno were like a couple of bloody statues. I mean, how are you 2-1 up at half time and 3-2 down in 5 minutes? Because the midfield's not there. At least Manu comes on and we're losing 3-2 and it goes to 4-3. I'm not saying it's perfect. But you know what? Whether you want Manu in the midfield or you don't, the fact that that midfield is so bad, somebody's got to take responsibility for that. I heard somebody in the live chat going, it's not Amorim's fault, it's all he's got. Oh, so the summer was a myth. You know, he wasn't there at the end of last season seeing the midfield was shit and he decided, just buy me another number 10. Buy me another striker. Like, that midfield is why we haven't won today. That midfield is why we're struggling to be in a top 5 that's basically opening its legs and saying, come on. It's wide open for us. And how many weeks have we messed it up now? West Ham, Bournemouth, Everton. We've had 3 opportunities to really grab hold of it and we can't do it. And you know what? We'll probably go to Villa and win on Sunday because we won't have Ahmad, we won't have Mbeumo, we won't have Casemiro. Everyone will start whining and saying we're going to get battered. The switch will go on and we'll get a bloody result because that's what we are at the moment. It's chaos. When Cunha scored that goal, my reaction was literally, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. There's still 15 minutes to go, so I'm not going to jump around going, yes, we've done it. And how, who knows what's coming next? This is what we're talking about. If we don't get the win, there's too much conversation. There's too much to discuss because what's the vision? What's the plan? What's the performance? Some people think that was good football. It can't be good football when you concede 4 goals and you need 2 good saves. It was an entertaining game for the neutral, but as a fan, that's not something I go, if we play like that, we'll batter Villa. If we play like that, I don't know what will happen. I don't know what will happen. And I think that when you look at, my serious concern with Ruben Amorim at the moment, and I just want to placate all the nonsense. I do not want him to be sacked. You can't sack a manager who's 5th in the league or 6th in the league. I don't want him to be sacked. I want him to learn. I want him to stop talking and start delivering a vision, because I want him to be here till the end of the season. I want to see what this journey is. I want to see where we're heading. But I don't think he gets it. I don't see much in-game management. He doesn't seem to be able to hold on to a lead. And predominantly we play a back 5. And are we playing a back 5 because if we play a back 4, we'll concede 8? I mean, I don't really get how we concede so many goals. And yet, a lot of the time, we've got a back 5. And we've got a decent goalkeeper. Having said that, it's very difficult when you're playing in defence and you've got no midfield to protect you, because you've got runners all over the place. And it doesn't matter whether you're a back 6. We saw it in the first half with another good save from Lemens where Tavernier times his run. The back 5 is set. They've got their line. They're marking their players. But Tavernier just runs off the midfield, times it well, and he's 6 yards out with a free header, and it's a big save by Lemens. And doesn't matter whether you've got a back 5. So, look, I think it's very, very simple. I've watched United a lot this season. And when people say we're cooking, we're basically playing against a team that tries to play out from the back and leaves a lot of space and plays a high line. Brighton, Liverpool, Bournemouth, even Arsenal. That was a long time ago. But we play well against teams that want to play a high line and be expansive. And we have low possession, we get the ball and we boot it. There was a point in extra time, in stoppage time, right? They've had a bit of attack. There's 3 minutes to go. Bruno gets the ball. We've got people forward, and he looks up and just goes bang, and it goes all the way everybody for a goal kick. And you think, that's literally all we seem to have. Just hit it long against teams that are out of position and hope that we can cause some chaos. I mean, every one of our goals was it a handball on the Bruno free kick? Petrovic, shit mistake on one of them. A lot of the goals were mistakes and a lot of their finishing was good. But look, it matters not. It's a draw. Some people would take a positive from a draw. It's not a loss. But I look at it and I go, you know what? In the international break, we were looking at these fixtures and saying we've got to take 24 from 30, a minimum of 24 from 30. Everton took it down to 27. West Ham took it down to a possible 25. That draw today takes it down to a possible 23. So we can get 23 from 30, and that means we've got to win against Villa, Newcastle, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley. So it's been eroded from a minimum of 24 out of 30. Well, we've got 23 at the moment, and are we going to win all those games? So I feel that it's just disappointing. And look, ultimately, everybody's got to make their own choice. People are going to fall out. People are going to have different opinions. That's what passion is. That's what football does to us. I can only speak for myself. I keep using these words. PVR. Results, vision, performance. Result, not good enough. Vision, I'm confused. Performance, entertainment, not performance. That's not performance, because performance is being able to game manage a game that you're winning 3 times at home. Performance is not hanging on at the end at Old Trafford. We could have won it in the first 20 minutes. Too many performances faded as well. Too many. Mason Mount, good 20 minutes, fell off. Luke Shaw fell off after about half an hour. And Mbeumo had a bad game. Maybe he should have subbed Mbeumo sooner. But, maybe he's thinking, I haven't got Mbeumo for a month now. Too many performances that just fall away. And you know what? I do have sympathy in some ways for players, manager, and certainly for you. We must exert so much energy as players because it's never over, is it? Every minute of every game, we keep it going. Apart from Wolves, who are one of the worst teams we've ever seen. When are we ever comfortable? We're never comfortable. But I do stand by it. Like, Amorim is to blame for that because against a team like that has not won a game in their last 6, that has conceded more away goals than anybody apart from Burnley, and concedes 2.5 goals every away game, and it'll be more than that now. We score 4 and we get away with it. I mean, there's something inherently wrong. I don't know how many goals we're conceding a game at the moment. I mean, we played 16 games and we've conceded 26 goals. So, you know, we're about 1.5 goals a game, which when you look at somebody like Aston Villa, they've conceded nearly 10 goals less than us. Chelsea 10 less than us. Palace 10 less than us. Sunderland 10 less than us. He's won 7 games out of 16 Premier League games. So his win ratio is below 45% again. These are the things he's got to improve on. You've got to be winning more games. You've got to be conceding less goals. He's going to have to survive on results because I don't think he's going to get performance and vision this season. So he's got to be winning games like this. And as I said, 2 points from 9 at home isn't good enough. And what worries me about the league table is, I think the first 10 games of the season, you could look at it and you could go, well, we've played Liverpool, we've played Arsenal, we've played Man City, we've played Chelsea, you know, we've played all those teams. These 10 games were meant to be about kicking on. Now we're playing the easier teams. We've took 2 points from 9 against West Ham, Everton and Bournemouth at home. That needs to be at least 7. So, look, I'm going to get into some of your comments. We've got the player ratings to do, but it could have been worse. It really could have been worse. I mean, I'm looking at those brilliant saves by Lemens. I can't believe people are criticising Lemens as well. You know, I don't think he can do anything on any of the goals apart from maybe the free kick. But he actually made some big saves. And he's a kid. He's not going to be prime David De Gea. But he made 3 big saves. The free kick maybe he could have done better. The other 3 goals, I don't think he can save them. I don't blame Lemens at all. I saw people getting on at Ahmad. I thought Ahmad had a good game. Some people were getting on at Heaven. I don't think he had a bad game. Look, if we're being honest, I love Martinez. The 4th goal, that's just rust. That's just mismanagement of a player. I said it at the start of the game. I'll say it again now. Martinez could have played a lot more minutes against Wolves. A lot more minutes against Wolves. I can't remember how many minutes he played, but he hasn't got the minutes in his legs. And now we're going to play Villa and Newcastle. And, you know, you can't really chuck Martinez into that. So I know we're worried about his knee, but, he's not match fit now. So, anyway, I want to get into some of your comments because there's a lot of people saying a lot of things and I'm interested to see what you've got to say. Yazir says, I've never seen Luke Shaw play a good second half for the last 4 years. Casemiro suspended, so Mainu will get a chance to start the next game. Well, I think there's going to be a lot of people writing us off against Aston Villa. Personally, our record is very good there. And with Mainu in the midfield, I think we'll control the ball better instead of hitting these long balls. We also won't have Ahmad and Mbeumo, so there's not a lot of pace in that team. Against Villa, what I'd be looking to do is be more compact at the back, more transition in possession, work our way up the pitch and put crosses into the box. But it's going to be a very, very different Manchester United. Very, very different Manchester United. What happens next game without Casemiro is definitely Shu. How hard can it be to play Bruno instead of Mount, says Daniel. Look, as somebody said in the watch along, and I said at the start of here, I would argue we have the best number 10 in the Premier League, one of the best number 10s in Europe for his output, and we're playing him in the midfield. And our midfield is shit. So how has that happened? Is that idiocy, or is that somebody who just doesn't understand the Premier League? Because you've got Bruno Fernandes, who's sort of lost in the madness as well. He's scoring the free kick. He's running to the halfway line. He's going, shh. He's like this. Yes, yes, yes. And then at the end, he's sort of confused. I'm not confused. You've got this balance of a player that's a match winner who will get you goals and assists. And then you've got him in the midfield where he will cost you goals and assists. And you end up with this balance of moments where people are going, oh, shut up, haters. Bruno's amazing. And then the rest of us going, and that's why he's not a midfielder. And that's why he's not a midfielder. And you just keep having this roller coaster of shut up, haters. Brilliant goal by Bruno. Shut up. And then you go, wait a minute. Oh, another goal because the midfield's shit. And it's like, how have we ended up in that position? Is it because the manager is very naive about the Premier League and you can get away with that in Portugal? Or is it just pure, I don't know, stupidity? I don't know what it is, but many of you said it in the summer. That could be the thing that costs him his job, not letting Bruno go and putting him in the midfield. It doesn't work, and it's not going to start to work. He's not quick enough. He's not strong enough. He doesn't track runners. People play through us very, very easily. And the scary thing is, Bournemouth should have been put to the sword. West Ham should have been put to the sword. Everton should have been put to the sword. What happens when you play a midfield like Newcastle? What happens when you play a team like Villa? But then again, part of me goes, well, they'll switch the light on because they're expected to lose, so they'll turn up and play well. Ryan says, the only difference is that we got a better goalkeeper, so now we're drawing instead of losing. What are your thoughts, Mark? I think we should have won the game comfortably in the first 25 minutes, but from that point, we're very lucky not to have lost it. And you're right, Lemon saved us at the end. I've never seen Luke Shaw play a good second half for 4 years. Casemiro suspended, so Mainu will get his chances. Yazir. We were brilliant for 5 minutes. Should have had 3. Our defending was shocking. Schoolboy stuff. And Burmo looked off. Definitely a red for Semenyo, says Wayne. But you know what, mate? It probably was a red card for Semenyo, but they would have parked the bus at 1-1 and we probably would have drawn 1-1. So, you know, I'm actually glad he didn't get sent off, even though he could have been, because the game stayed open and we should have won it and we still didn't. We'll drop down after Villa and Newcastle, says Jem. 2 points from West Ham, Everton, Bournemouth at home is a disgrace, says Maliki. Bruno has the most assists this season in the Premier League and he had 2 today. If he's the problem, you have no clue what's the solution, says Rash R. Yeah, you just didn't listen, mate, did you? I mean, you've actually done that super chat in the last few minutes as well, when I've said already twice, this is on Amorim. Bruno is the best number 10 in the league and we're not playing him as a number 10. So how is he a scapegoat? He's a shit midfielder. He's a brilliant number 10. What in your head can't compute that he shouldn't be playing in the midfield and we'd be better? He should be playing as a number 10. We should have lost Lemens, saved us, says Quinster. Changes that seem obvious. Amorim to change his formation. Amorim to start Mainu. Amorim to play Bruno as a 10. Amorim to rethink his subs, says the Jack Sutton. I think Mbeumo probably should have come off sooner, but I also understand that it's his last game for a month, so you want to keep him on. I'm Davin says, I used to enjoy your show. Amorim and the team are doing good. You can't slack them off. We have positives. We couldn't convert a lot of chances, but we're creating. If you can't see that, sorry. Thank you very much for your opinion, mate. I'm not going to shoot it down. You're entitled to it, even though I completely disagree with it. Throughout Mainu's department, he was CDM, CM, Cam, false 9, Bruno's deputy in Casemiro's position. What is his best position? Says Dark Blue Wolf. In this team, midfield. Luke Shaw is absolutely useless and needs to be dropped, says Jam. This has been Bournemouth's problem for years. They can't control a game. That is also Amorim's problem, and it will never make us a consistent team, says Marlow. He'll have to get the boot, 5 at the back and leaking like a sieve, says Sean. Mark, do you think if we sold Bruno on deadline day, we would be bottom half of the table, says Quackworth? Well, it never would happen, would it? Luke Shaw is useless, says Jam. If he feels like we've got no strategy, makes the opponent's strategy messed up, resulting in a free-for-all, says Who to Blame. I've watched United 36 years. I've been through the lot. I'm sorry, but this bunch won't get Europe. I totally blame the hierarchy. Amorim wasn't at fault, says Scott Page. I do agree with you. I do agree with you, Scott, because we were talking about this at lunchtime. You've got a manager that has a fan base and a media demanding he goes to a back 4, so much so that he's thinking of doing it, and he's never done it. And if he does it, maybe we'll play better, but you've got a manager that doesn't play a back 4 now playing a back 4. What vision is that? That has to be on the hierarchy. Like, are you telling me that we're now going to start playing a back 4 with a manager that plays a 3-4-3? And if we are, what's the last year been about? And if we are, why did they appoint him in the first place? How can you appoint a 3-4-3 manager, not give him the players he needs, and then basically tell him to change? What was the point? You don't bring Jose Mourinho in and then say you must play like Pep. You don't bring Pep in and say you must play like Mourinho. Why did we appoint Ruben Amorim if we're not going to give him the players to play his system and he's going to have to change himself? Why did we appoint Erik ten Hag and then he never played like Ajax? Why do we bend over for the players that clearly need clearing out? And why don't we back a manager properly? Because ultimately, Amorim probably will end up the same way as everybody else, but we'll all be sat there going, well, they didn't really give him the players to play his system, did they? Dalot is not a left wing back. He might be doing quite well, but he is not a left wing back. That midfield is not a midfield. Whether Amorim's picking Bruno there for whatever reason, it's still not a midfield. So I do have sympathy with Amorim, but he also makes silly mistakes where it's hard to be sympathetic. Like, I do still think that you could, make changes. I mean, the midfield is a problem. I would solve that problem overnight. I'd go more workman-like. Agate may not be good, may not be good, Casemiro may not be good, but I wouldn't put Bruno in there. You'd be better off with Casemiro and Mainu. You'd be better off with Agate and Mainu. God, you could even argue you'd be better off with Dalot and Casemiro. Like, just workman-like midfielders who strategically stick to their position and are disciplined. I'm fed up of seeing Bruno all over the place. I don't think people realise that. I watched Bruno in the first half. He was at right back, he was at left back, he was at centre back, he was at number 10. You just want somebody to sit there like Scott did for Bristol, for Bournemouth. He did used to play for Bristol. It's not just about... Bruno's not a midfielder. He's got no discipline. And I don't think people understand, especially when you're a centre-back, there's nothing more assuring than seeing a midfield two in front of you, strategically disciplined, sticking to their areas. Makes you very hard to play through, leaves you no space. How many times does Man United's midfield have so much space in it? Because people are out of position. We've missed De Ligt massively. Le Mans still raw, says St. Blanca. I think if you're trying to blame Le Mans, you're wide of the target, in my opinion. I also think we have missed De Ligt, but we still would have conceded 4 goals today because it was chaos ball. Bournemouth still would have created chances. De Ligt is a good player, but he can't stop that. He's not bloody Moses. He's not going to bloody hold back the tide. He can't do it. Just came from the game. Maina made a difference, but as soon as we score, we lose focus, says KD. You know what? When that Cunha goal went in, and I was saying I was confused, that was exactly my point. I'm looking at the clock and I'm going, there's still 15 minutes to go. The way we play football, and we've seen it so many times this season, the way we play football this season, it's so confusing because you chase a game, you get back into it. Forest, Spurs, Bournemouth today. We chase a game, we get the goal, and then we're like, well, we can't chase it now. We can't go gung-ho because we're level again. We've got to be more disciplined. And then we go back to being disciplined and we concede. We're fine when we're chasing a game and it's panic stations and it's like, caution to the wind. How many times have we got back into games this season chasing the game? But you look at it when Cunha scores and you go, we're winning. But there's too long left. They're now going to come at us and we're not equipped for it. We need to be scoring the winning goal with like 30 seconds left. And even that might not be enough. Chris says, leaving Bruno aside, Heaven and Burmo single-handedly cost us in the second half. They were atrocious. Thank God for the heroics from Le Mans. Conceded many goals because midfield doesn't exist, says John. We need De Ligt, says Jay. Also missing De Ligt, Maguire, seriously a big loss, says Shank. Is it fair to say that the only reason Bruno needs to be sold is because Amorim bought in 2 first-team 10s in the summer? Fair point, Oscar. I think Bruno doesn't get blamed because of his goals and assists. I think Amorim's to blame for putting Bruno at CDM, says Harry. The thing about Bruno is, and we need to remember this and we need to take it away, he's the best number 10 in the Premier League for what he brings to the team, goals and assists. But we don't play him as a 10. We play him in the midfield and he costs us. Every goal he scored today and assisted, he would have done as a number 10. He'd have still took the corner. He would have still took the free kick. It was the same against Palace. He still would have took both free kicks as a 10. How many goals and assists has Bruno got us from playing in the midfield? There's not many that have exclusively come because he's in the midfield. Like, if you put Haaland at centre-back and he doesn't score, well, he's not up front. You put Bruno in the midfield, how many assists and goals does he get because he's playing centre midfield? And how many goals and assists does he get because he goes and does what a number 10 is? No midfield solidity cost us the game, says Nath. Missed De Ligt badly as well, but overall feels like a mentality issue. Can no longer stand by the manager. Midfields are jokes, says Jordan. So inconsistent, it's not funny. Bournemouth scoring 4 at Old Trafford is unforgivable, says Kazumi. I guess this means we're going to beat Villa, says Hi-Fi. I hope so. Mainoo's a waste of space, says Dante. Casemiro and Bruno bring more output than Mainoo in that position, and now he's pressured to bring him in. Our defence is not good. Amorim needs to buy his own defenders. Mate, I can't get on board with that. You've just said buy defenders when the midfield's shit. Players are crap, sold the whole defence, including Mr. T-Rex. Can't save anything that isn't straight at him. Wow. We're not a team that can compete for Europe. What's scary is our best players are going to AFCON. This is a great point by our men. I want to do the player ratings, but this is a great point, right? And I think this is really important. There'll be some people going, it's a draw, get behind the team, get behind the manager. But let's remember PRV. Performance, maybe you liked the performance. I think it was entertaining. I don't think it was a good performance. Result, maybe you liked the result. It's not a win. Vision, where's the vision? That's a great point about Europe. If we scrap our way to Europe this season, what are we next season? What from this season do you take into next season and say that's going to be good? I can't see the vision. I can't see anything growing. I can't see any system or pathways or, cohesion. I can't see anything that's, sprouting. I can't at the moment. I can't. Maybe some of you can, but I can't see what we are doing this season in relation to, that's where we're heading. You might be critical of Lamens and you might be critical of Mainoo, but I saw we had 52% possession when Mainoo came on. It was 56% in no time. And we'd gone from 3-2 down to 4-3 up. So technically, Mainoo came on, possession went up by 5%, and we drew a game we were losing. We had more control in the midfield. I'm not saying he's perfect. In some ways, it would be beneficial if Mainoo played badly. Because I could say a bad midfielder came on, but he gave us more possession and we went from losing to winning. Imagine if we had good midfielders. It actually works better to the people who think Mainoo's shit. Because I would say, well, okay, even if he is shit, he still came on, gave us more composure, more possession, and we went from losing the game to winning it, to drawing it. So even if you think Mainoo's shit, we still performed better with him there. So imagine what happens if you have a proper fucking midfield. I mean, we've only been talking about it for 6 months. We can't defend and we can't finish our chances. It just feels like we're going nowhere with this system, says Lewis. Look, we've got a fan forum to do, so I'm going to do the player ratings, but I'm sure the fan forum is going to be very interesting, and I know we've got Ricky on it, so I'm sure he's going to be defending everybody against Bruno. If you're a true red, you realise it's not Amorim, it's the hierarchy. I love him. You will learn in time it's not him. Mainoo was great. End off, says Scott Page. I don't think you can say if you're a true red, you support Amorim. I think that's very unfair. That's like saying what I said last year, and I regret it. You're not a real fan if you're saying Ten Hag out. I don't think you can say that, Scott. I know where you're coming from, and I do respect it, but I don't think you can say that because I think, Paul Scholes is questioning the manager. Is he not a true red? Like, it's, we can disagree and we can be passionate, but I don't think you can say you're not a fan if you have a problem with the manager as well. But ultimately, Scott's right. The problem is at the top. 7 for me from Lamens. I mean, I don't want to argue with people. Like, what we should argue with is why we've taken 2 points from Bournemouth, West Ham and Everton at home and why we're conceding 4 goals and why we're not showing a vision. But ultimately, Lamens made 3 big saves. He can't save any of those goals apart from maybe the free kick. And for some reason, people are turning on a young player again. And I find that baffling. I really, really do. I can't state enough that we should have lost that game in injury time. They had 2 big chances and he saved it. Saved them both. I thought Yoro was okay. I mean, again, I'm sure he'll get lower than a 6. I don't see it. I thought, again, he's just the fall guy for Amorim. He doesn't want to use him. He took him off first. I thought Luke Shaw was a lot worse. I don't think Lenny Yoro was bad. In fact, what did Lenny Yoro have to do with the goals that were conceded? Nothing. 6 for me. Heaven, I thought, was a 6 as well. I don't see what he's done wrong. I don't. I think when you're a centre-back and you've got no midfield in front of you and people are playing balls onto runners, it's hard. It's hard. It is hard. Luke Shaw, 5.5. I thought he was had a good 20 minutes, was shit on the first goal and did nothing in the second half again. And I think Gary Neville would say what a waste of space he was if he saw it. Ahmad, I'd probably give him a 7. I thought in the first half he was absolutely electric. He got the goal. Second half, it was chaos ball and we probably didn't use him enough. Yes, he holds on to the ball a little bit too much at times, but I think we're about to see what we are without Ahmad over the next month. I think he's a fantastic player. Casemiro, look, I know it didn't lead to a goal. The free kick did. When they were running through our midfield and he got that yellow card that puts him out of the game against Villa, watch that back. They literally just run through Bruno and Casemiro and they've got no pace. And I'm like, that's our midfield. That's our midfield. They've just ran through it and there's nothing they can do apart from foul them. That free kick that Casemiro gave, if you think our midfield's anywhere near good enough, just watch that, because that's what I see game after game after game after game. It's just teams running through our midfield like they're not there. So, yeah, 4.5 for me. How can Casemiro get a 5.5 and Luke Shaw get a 4.7 and Heaven get a 5.2? Bruno, look, wonderful free kick. If he was playing number 10 today, I'd give him a 7.5. As a midfielder, even with a worldy free kick and an assist, I'd have to give him a 6. Because as a midfielder, I'd give him a 4. But then he's got a goal and assist, so I'll give him a 6. As I say, midfielder, rubbish. As a number 10, very, very good. Dalot, I'd give him a 6 out of generosity. You know, he did put a good cross in, but there's a lot of bad aspects to his game as well. And Burmo was atrocious, 4.5. I mean, he probably should have had a hat trick. He just... You know what about Mbeumo, though? I like Mbeumo. And again, Exhibit A, Mbeumo. How is it good players come to Manchester United and end up like that? What you look at him at Brentford last year, unbelievably consistent, week in, week out, game changer, game changer, game changer. Comes to Man United, we've seen it for the last 6 weeks. Worse, 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 worse. Why? Why is it? What is it about Man United for the last 15 years that we bring good players here and they fall off a fucking cliff? What is it? What is it? I don't know. Answer the question. Culture? Ownership? It has to be. Because the fans have standards. The fans want to win. It has to be the lack of DNA in the club. It has to be the lack of culture in the club. It has to be the lack of standards in the club. That players just turn up and go, it doesn't matter. John Cena FC, I'm tapping out. You know? Mad. Mason Mount, probably a 5. Yeah, good first 20 minutes, fell off. Cunha, I thought, was probably my man of the match. I'd give him a 7. I thought he played really well. You know, that cross to Mbeumo, never stopped running. In a team that was chaotic, I think he was the one I wanted to have the ball. I thought he played well. In fact, I'm going to give him man of the match. Martinez, look, needs to get him more minutes. Massive player for us, but looked off the pace, 5. Mainu, I thought he did well, 6.5 for me. Couple of mistakes, but he's going to be rusty, you know, it makes me laugh. People moan about Mainu, he's going to be rusty. Of course he's going to be bloody rusty. He doesn't play any minutes. Oh, he missed this tackle, he missed that tackle. Mate, he hardly bloody plays. Of course he's going to miss tackles, but I think we got more composure. That, you know, we got back in the game. You know, really, really good. Really, really good from Mainu. So, you know, very, very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. And it did sort of change the game for us a little bit. Dorgu, I didn't even know he came on. 6. Xerxes, 6. Sesko, 6. I'm not really bothered about the subs, really. Amorim. What are we going to give Amorim then? 1 minute. Right, fucking hell. I'd forgotten we were going to have to give Amorim a score. Lots of people are saying a 4. Honestly, the game itself is just so chaotic. I need to watch it back. Substitutions I thought were okay. Systematically, what more can you do? I think you know what? I'm going to give him a 5. I'm not going to go too far. Because I think in relation to the game, I wasn't actually surprised that it was chaos, because it's been chaos a lot. This is more of a bigger picture thing. this is what happens when you completely and utterly misread the room on the midfield. Like, this has been happening for weeks, and this is going to keep happening. You've misprofiled your midfield, and it's going to hurt you a lot this season. And the question has to be, in an intelligent and calm way, how did you misprofile your midfield so badly? What in the summer made you think you could get through a Premier League season with Casemiro and Bruno as your midfield too? Because that is killing us. If you had, if you had bloody Fulham's midfield, we'd probably be in the top 4. And people would go, you're having a laugh. No, we probably would, because it'd just be a stable midfield too who do their job. He's misprofiled his midfield, and that's why I blame him for today, because he's misprofiled his midfield, and it's killing us. And I'm so fed up. I had this thought, and I wanted to share it with you, right? I feel like our midfield is basically a Nana last year. A Nana last year was costing us goals, was costing us games. Even though the rest of the team was okay-ish, he was so shit. I look at the team again, and I'm like, there's areas of this team that is okay, but the midfield is like having a Nana in the midfield. It's just costing us games, game after game after game. And that's why I blame Amorim. It's not even about today. It's just, how did we get it so wrong in the midfield? Games are won and lost in the midfield. And it's amazing to me that all those brains that Man United have got on the CEO, the board, the coaches, the manager, how have you misprofiled it so badly? And that's my problem. That's my problem with that. Cunha, man of the match. I agree. I do agree. I think it's very interesting how that you've gone with that one. I do agree that Cunha, man of the match, makes a lot of sense. And I do agree with you on that one. Right. For some reason, we're not able to redirect you through to the fan forum. We have got a fan forum, but it's not doing it. So what I'll do is I'll pin it in the live chat. There we go. Right. Let me pin this in. Be a very interesting one. Live. Sorry, that's the wrong stream. I'm actually putting it in the live chat there. Well, look, thanks everybody tonight. Some really interesting comments. I'm sure I'll be reading them in the morning as well. Lots and lots to digest. I don't care if you want to come here and say, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you. That's absolutely fine. You know, a draw tends to do that. I said before the game, if we draw this game, it won't calm the people who are frustrated. But it won't turn the people who are happy. You know, that's what a draw does. So I ain't got a problem with that. But I'm glad that Cunha got voted man of the match. Right, live fan forum. I've pinned it in the chat. Thank you very much for watching. Welcome to all the new subscribers tonight. And stay safe, everybody. Thank you very much for all your opinions. You know, it's going to be a tough season, isn't it? But I think at the moment, I'd give this season a 4 out of 10. I don't think it's even been average. I think we're below average this season in where we are and where we're meant to be. So, you know, that's always going to put you under a little bit of pressure, isn't it? So I think we need to be doing better. Look, we've got a great opportunity. If you go to Villa and you get a result, then, you know, it changes the story, doesn't it? But there you go. Okay, let's get over to the fan forum. Let's spam it with Amorim to blame. See you in a bit.